Hello, my fellow preppers and patriots. What is up? It is Lane here. Today I'm interviewing A. American from the Going Home series. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yep, I'm the angry American author of the 6 current books of Going Home, plus a couple novellas set in the same world, and we've got number 7, Avenging Home, coming out pretty soon. Um, Went back to self-publishing from publishing with Penguin, so that's changed a few things in the publishing world, but I'm working on a couple things right now that may bring me back into traditional publishing and get me back into the bookstores and a little bit better distribution. So hopefully soon I'll have some answers on that.
What were you like at school?
Uh, I was an average kid, but I was like in high school. I enlisted in the Marine Corps my junior year of high school, and so all through my senior year and stuff, I was ready to go, geared up, and that was my whole plan. But I was a good student. I got good grades, but I wasn't a very interested student. I didn't participate a whole lot. I did what I had to do to get out of there.
Were you good at English?
Yeah, actually, I was. I was very good at English. I was also pretty good at creative writing when I was in school as well. But I never imagined becoming a writer back then. It was never something that was on my radar at all.
What are your ambitions for your writing career?
I just want to keep turning out books that my fans want, you know. I like to provide a good, entertaining story, but at the same time, I like to make sure that they're taking something away, that they're learning something or picking up a skill or at least an interest in a skill that gets them to pursue it further.
Which writers inspire you?
The one writer that has inspired me more than any, and this is going to sound kind of silly, is Hunter Thompson. His gonzo journalism way of writing, I've always been a fan of it, and I've read about everything Hunter Thompson ever wrote.
Can you give us an insight on your main character?
Well, Morgan Carter's pretty much just he can be anybody, you know, and I did it that way so that everyone could relate to him, so that, you know, he's not a special forces ninja, and he's nothing like that. He's just a regular guy that's trying to get home to his wife and kids, trying to get to his family. And it was important to me that he be relatable to everybody, and that everybody can see themselves kind of in his shoes, you know, and do the what would I do in that situation scenario. And he's developed a lot along the way, you know. He's a guy that's stuck in a hard situation and has to make tough choices, and he don't always make the right one. But he's got to make a decision, and he usually does. I mean, he'll make one. Like I said, it may not be the right one, but he'll always make one.
How much research did you do?
When I started writing Going Home, I did it on a whim, actually. I wrote it on a forum, and I was just doing it for my own entertainment, just for fun. And it was 11:30 one night. I had just finished reading some stories on the forum there that other people wrote, and I was like, these are all cool, but they're kind of missing something for me. And then I was like, what the hell, I'm going to write one. And so I started right then with very little prior planning or forethought. I hammered out a 5,000-word chunk of the story and put it online, and then it just took off from there. It went crazy.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. No, so the research in the beginning was pretty minimal, honestly, but I just used a lot of my existing knowledge, and I do a lot of research now, though, for keeping the story going.
Where do your ideas come from?
Current events, you know, life in general, what's going on around the world, and I'm always playing out what can we do when the situation gets bad, you know, if the grid ever went down or anything like that, what could we do to fill the voids that'll be there, and how can we replace those things that you may not be able to go to the grocery store or the hardware store or anywhere else and get, you know. You're still going to need to live, so it's going to be important to find ways to overcome those things.
Who designed your book covers?
A few different people have. The original guy that did them, I don't have him anymore. He did the first book cover. Penguin did the next. Well, they redid Going Home, and then they did the first 5. And I have a guy now in Portugal that does them for me. Real good artist, and he does all original work. And they're nice covers.
What advice can you give to aspiring writers?
The hardest thing about writing is sitting down and writing. Um, it takes time behind the keyboard. My laptop's always open and always on, and every time I look at it, that cursor hasn't moved an inch unless I'm sitting there. So the hard part is to sit there and do it. The other thing, and the reason that my story was successful is just the way that it happened. I wrote it online. It had over 2 million views online while I was writing it. So when I finally did publish it, I already had an audience. I had an audience before I had a product. And that was why it was successful. Because the day it published, there were thousands of people waiting on it. And they bought it. And I didn't imagine that would happen. Didn't even believe it would happen, but it did. And so the thing that I can tell folks is try to develop your audience before you ever try to publish something. You'll be far happier that way. If you just try to publish it, put it out there, you'll be pretty disappointed.
Do you have any advice for other authors on how to market their books?
What I've learned going through this is to be approachable and interactive with the readers. These are the folks that are going to be buying your book. And I've heard from a lot of them that some authors, aren't real friendly and they don't take the time to talk to them. But anybody who contacts me ever, I always respond to them. I'll talk to them. And I do meets too. If I'm traveling, if I'm going anywhere, I always let folks know where I'm at. And if anybody wants to meet up, I'm more than happy to do it. I had a guy driving through the area where I live. He was driving through last night. He hit me up on Facebook, and I ran over to McDonald's and we sat down and talked for a while. So, being a regular person and not letting that kind of what you think may be celebrity or fame go to your head, and remember who put you where you are. That's pretty important.
How can readers discover more about you and your work?
Well, my Facebook page is pretty complete with everything I'm doing, what's going on, and that's under Angry American on Facebook.
And
I also
link will
just
be in the
started
description.
Okay. I also just started an Instagram account, which has only got a few pictures on it, but I'm going to be putting up a bunch more on that, and that's Angry American as well. I also have 2 websites. There's angryamerican.com, which is a forum, and then Angry American Survival, which really isn't launched yet, but you can see it, but we haven't really launched that site yet. But that'll be a YouTube videos will be on there, and like blog posts, articles, that kind of thing. And there'll be some contributing writers to that site as well, so it won't just be me. It's going to be some pretty good info.
Is there anything else you would like to add that I haven't included?
No, I think, the books, and from what readers tell me, inspire them to get a little more prepared. And that can be for anything, It's not always going to be the end of the world. There's so many little things that can happen to us that can throw a hiccup in our lives. And having a little bit of preps, be it food, water, or even a little reserve cash account for those things that happen to us are important. And people telling me that my stories inspire them to do that is great. And that's what I encourage everybody to do. Even if you've only got, 1 can of beans, you're 1 can up on the guy that doesn't have one. So everything you can do now will pay huge dividends later.
This has been the High School Prepper interviewing A. American. Thank you for watching, and please leave who you think that I should interview next in the description below.